We're going to do, anyway, you guys know it's Larry. We're going to do 15 minutes maximum, and maybe shorter than that. It really depends. Tomas! Bristol's in the house. It's always well, Tomas. I don't have any other alternative. And I want to catch up with you. I want to see if you're still doing the same thing that you were doing when we sat down for our hamburger a few months ago. Hey, Donna. All my pals are here. Yeah, so we're going to go 15 minutes and out maximum, and that's going to depend on what you guys want. This is all about confidence, and there's a million things to say about confidence, and I don't want to give you a million things because you guys know how things go when you give, Mandy. When you give a million things about confidence, none of them happen. It's the juggling principle. You try and keep more balls in the air than you're ready to, and they all fall down. So we're going to do a few quick things. I'll take your questions if you have any, Sandra, and we're going to wind up using most of the time greeting people as we come along. Plus, we have Mind Flip tonight. For those of you who are in the Mind Flip community, it's our usual 8:30 start, and I got to prepare some things. And Mighty Julie is going to do a lot of the content with me, but I want to make sure that we're ready to go. So let's dive in real quick. I took my usual cryptic notes. Let's talk confidence. And I got 4 bullet points. And then, like I said, if you got questions, toss them into the comment section because it's universal. All of the best stuff happens when you guys have the questions. And I'm not going to say I know everything about confidence because there's a lot of spots where I'm not as confident as I'd like to be, but those are in specific areas. And those of you who know Mind Flip, you get yourself good and strong and full of self-respect. And that's, from that standpoint, you start attacking the areas in your life that aren't firing enough on all their cylinders. And you can make miracles happen, but you won't do it if you don't have a general sense of well-being. And, you know, that word, confidence. So let me read these out. Some of these are really, really good. And you want to write these down. Number 1, again, write this down. Confidence does not need external validation. And I'm going to start with the whole juggling monstrosity. I'm disappointed. I don't see Tony here. Tony, it's all for you, dude. It's not really like the juggling. He asked about it beforehand. I spent most of my life, you know, preface, this is nobody's fault, this is just the way things go. I spent most of my life where the things that I did made people's eyes roll, made people go, they say, well, I love Larry, but, you know, and this is going all the way back to when I was a little boy. And again, it's just how I'm sure I've done that with other people as well. If you wait for somebody else to give you permission to do the things that you want to do the things that are inside your own heart, you're never going to start. There's a jumping off point, and there's a procedure to all this. Julie and I are hot and heavy teaching this in the Confidence Project. But there's a procedure so that you detach from worrying about what anybody else is thinking, what anyone else's judgment is of you, because you realize along the way that their judgment and their ridicule or their eye rolls is 99% about their own insecurities. And once you realize that and you detach from worrying about what those guys think, because your confidence comes from in here and in here, and if you like, if you're oriented this way towards your relationship with God or the divine, you don't worry about what anyone else's opinion, and you realize that you have a partner in this process, and that's all the confidence you're ever going to need. So if you're oriented towards a spiritual way of thinking, you don't need any external validation because your validation is in here, and it's the spirit, whatever you want to call it. Number 2, and this is actually, if you want to go back and stalk my wall, you're free to do so, though you probably have better things to do. Confidence is quiet, usually quiet, but it sure knows how to party. That's a cover photo that I did years and years and years ago. My way of doing things, and a lot of you guys have seen me for years and years, so you notice I'm not usually the guy who's jumping up and down on tables and the guy who is demonstrative and breaking and yelling stuff. I know how to go to that gear, but it's not my default position. My default position is usually quiet. I'm a counselor, so I have to listen for a living. So if I'm always talking over somebody, it doesn't give them a chance to listen. So generally speaking, not necessarily in Facebook Lives, but generally speaking, if you're around me, you're going to notice that I'm usually doing less than 50% of the talking in any conversation. And it's not because I don't have stuff to say. You know, again, false modesty aside, I've got the confidence so that I don't have to fill every spot in the dialogue. I don't have to say everything all the time. I have the confidence to let somebody else have their turn at the table, and that brings out their own confidence, because now all of a sudden they feel like there's somebody who's worth listening to. And if you want to lead, if you want to influence people, there's nothing better than giving them the shot at speaking their own truth. And again, those at a party. So a confident person usually has enough space to let other people do their thing. But when it's time to cut loose, they cut loose. Yeah, see what I mean? Number 3. Confidence has lots of room. And by the way, before I even go into that, I know that this is not a how-to. There's other places to get the how-to. I'm just giving you some stuff. So if you see nuggets in this whole thing, if there's something that you can take with you right this minute that's helpful, bring it, by all means. Number 3, confidence has lots of room for compassion and not a lot of tolerance for self-pity. I want you to write that down. And you know what? Bonus points, Hockman bonus points to the first person who puts that up as their status, and you got to tag me on it, because confidence also, I didn't write this down, but confidence also has room for self-promotion. Not arrogance necessarily, but you know, it's comfortable with taking credit for the things that they did. So it doesn't need it every moment, but I want it for this particular moment. Confidence, write this down, confidence has lots of room for compassion, not a lot of tolerance for self-pity. And the reason for that, we're all entitled to feel loved. We're all entitled to feel love, which is different from loved. We're all entitled to feel good and right. True confidence, all right, Judy, I'll say it again. Confidence has lots of room for compassion, comma, not a lot of tolerance for self-pity. One more time. Confidence has lots of room for compassion and not a lot of tolerance for self-pity. Jeez, guys, I already said it many times. Go back and listen to the recording if you don't get it this time. Thank you, Sarah, for saying that on my behalf in the comment section. We'll look at Sarah Cole. She wrote it down. Confidence is earned. I mean, as much as everyone deserves it, and we really do, you got to earn it. And when somebody who has that confidence is standing next to someone who doesn't, they get it, because all of us who are confident, we're in a place where at one point we were not. But because we're sitting next to somebody who doesn't have that confidence, we know what they're capable of because we were them. And so we see the potential in the person who isn't. So it gives us compassion and gives us empathy. But it also says, dude, I've been there. You don't have to stay there. And if you're continuing to blast out your saga of woe to the world, I'm not sticking around you. I'll help you. I'll work with you. But I'm not going to sit here and let you barf out your self-pity all over me. I've been to the other side, and you're invited to come with me, but I'm not waiting. Confidence has lots of room for compassion, not a lot of tolerance for self-pity. You get that? Go listen to that again if you're hearing the recording of this. Number 4 and last, my favorite because of current circumstances, confidence goes for the moonshot. Now, you see that what's on top of this live session. You got a link to the Confidence Project, the maiden voyage that Julie Dwyer and I are doing in Detroit on Saturday, March 18th. And that's a moonshot because, you know, it's 11 days from now. People are thinking, "What, you crazy? You want me to go to Detroit? You just jump on a plane?" I don't want you to do anything. I want you to do what's in your heart, and I want you to do what you feel is worth you making the effort for. And what's in line with your goals, what's in line with your values, what's in line with your sense of self-worth, and what's in line, quite honestly, with your life and with your budget and everything else. We basically knocked the price down to this incredibly low because we want good, strong people in the room for the first time that we're doing it. We're going to take this nationwide and probably international, but our maiden voyage for the Confidence Project is in Detroit. And you know what? I know that most people are not going to go. I don't care. The right ones always show up. And in all likelihood, I'm reaching out to the one person, maybe two, but one person who gets the idea, and they'll click on the link above and they'll say, "Hey, there is something here for me," and they'll take a leap of faith and they'll go, and the rest won't, and that's perfectly fine. Everyone does what they're supposed to do in the moment that they're supposed to do it. And it turns into a wonderful equation, and people always sort themselves out. So that's what I got. The four, we got 12:39, 12 minutes, 40 seconds. I said we're going no longer than 15. If you got a question, toss it out there. I am ready for you. Give it a good few 30 seconds or so for somebody to write something down. And in the meanwhile, and he better be there because Tony McHugh is asking me and harassing me about the juggling thing. The other thing is confidence is not, I didn't write this down, but it's truth. Confidence is not afraid to fail publicly. And I guess that's part of the first one. It doesn't get its love, it doesn't get its validation from anyone else's opinion. I drop these things constantly. And these are not particularly good juggling balls. They're Google balls, see what I mean? Oh, my daughter's work. She works at Google in New York City, and she got me these Google balls, which are kind of cool. But we're not afraid to fail in public because we don't internalize it. And truth is, when we have the confidence and the sense of play and adventure to fail, sometimes spectacularly in public, it also gives us the emotional freedom and space to succeed. Thank you for the call we had last. Choosing, give my time. You better believe it. Say, I remember you. I totally remember you. Good. Sarah says, thank you for the call we had last fall. I am no longer choosing to give my time away for free. You better get used to that. What is the one specific thing? And he asked me at 14:15. Thanks, dude. Tomas Pesta, what's the one specific thing you do? Me. I guess you mean in general, that undermines your self-worth. It's a good question. Internalize the messages that well-meaning but wrong people give you because they're afraid, because they love you so much that they're sometimes afraid that you're going to fail, and running too far past them threatens their sense of self-worth. That undermines your own self-worth. Comparison with other people. Take it to the bank. I'm out of here. We got stuff to do. Listen to this recording if you like, and the right person, whoever you are, I will see you in Detroit. Bye, guys.